right, what's good? It's your boy John Bracey, aka Magister Bracey, back again with part two of our series on equitable relationship building. And this one's all about getting personal. Getting personal. By this, I mean personalizing everything that you do in the classroom that you are able to. Being personal. It has to matter that your specific students are in that room. It has to matter that those specific kids know that it matters that they are there. There's a few ways to do this. There are some practical classroom activities and practices you can use, which I'll get to in a moment. But first, we got to start with the basics of how you interact with all of your kids. So, my advice to start off with is be your student's biggest fan. Let that be your underlying philosophy, your underlying thought process, that you are the president of all of your students' fan clubs, and I mean all of them. Everything they say is fascinating. Everything about who they are is fascinating. Now, I'm not saying fake this, right? I mean genuinely be that interested. Take that level of interest, because I promise you, all of your students are fascinating, unique, beautiful people. They all have stories that are unique to them. Take that genuine interest. You're going to find something that fascinates you, that connects you to that student. So be their biggest fan. Now, how do you do this? How do you show this? What actions do you take? Well, number one, first thing, when your students enter your class in whatever form that is, be sure to greet them by name. Every single student, greet them by their name. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Stop and greet every single student by their name and be excited. Get excited that those students are there. Get excited that those specific students are coming to your room. When that kid walks in, you say, hey! Doesn't matter if they walk in late. Be equally excited to see that kid. Why is this so important? Why is this so important? Well, for kids who come from backgrounds where we're not used to people being excited to see us all the time, where we're used to our relationship, again, with adults being one that's sort of like a prison guard and an inmate kind of situation, where it's like the adults are the ones who call your home and say, I don't know why John Bracey isn't doing his homework. I don't know why he won't bring his homework. I don't know why he just won't pay attention in class and do his homework. Like, when that's our relationship, we're not expecting adults to be happy to see us. We're not expecting people to be happy that we're in their classes. So when you take that time to greet us by name and say how happy you are to see us, and show us how happy you are to see us, that matters. Because some students are used to that. Some students are used to, like, oh, look at so-and-so. They're so quiet. They're so well-behaved. They always do everything on time. Some students are used to that. A lot of us, students like me, like I was, and a lot of students out there aren't used to that all the time. So you might be the only adult that they encounter who is happy to see them that day. It feels like nothing, but it means everything. Greet them as they come in the door. Be excited to hear everything about them. If they have a quick story to tell, listen. Forget about time. All right? Be your student's biggest fan. Now, what can you do with that in the classroom? Make this part of what you do. Personalize. Personalize everything. Student interviews. Interview your students in the target language, in Latin, if you like. Let them respond in English. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you interview them like they're a celebrity. Pick a kid and ask them questions about themselves. In front of the class, ask them. Student surveys. Have students tell you something about themselves, something that they want to tell you about themselves, what they're interested in, what they like to do, what their passion is. So once you find that out, you can connect with anybody. Use those surveys. Ask them questions. What do they want out of life? Who are they? What do they love to do? Even something as simple as like, what's their favorite food? Anything like that. Any connection like that will allow you to make these relationships strong and personal. This is especially true with your students of color, because we are constantly in a situation where we are being prejudged, hence prejudice, prejudged, and we feel unseen, like people just decided who we were before we even walked into the room. So when you just take an interest in something that we're interested in, we feel like people, which we might not feel like all the time. Find out about us. Student-based stories. Make stories in class using your students. Use them as the characters. Create an alternate version of something that you're reading and replace a student as the main character. Always doing something positive, right? This will make such a difference. It'll make them feel seen, special, part of class. And also instant representation because they're literally in it. And of course, personalized questions. Every day, ask students about themselves, how they're doing, what they're doing. Take the time to do that, and it will pay off in dividends. This will be particularly true with your students of color, with your students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds, with students who are from groups who have been marginalized. Because being treated like an individual human is not something that we always get. So when you do that, your students will see it and they will start to connect with you. Now, don't expect that right away. It may take time. It may take a year. You may not even know what happened. You may feel like you failed and they come back 3 years later and they say how much of a difference you made. Keep it personal. This was part 2 of Equitable Relationship Building, Getting Personal with John Bracey. We got one more. See you soon.